Hello Spokane. Today we are here with Adam Ludlow. He is the owner of Rewired Fitness here in Spokane. Adam, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Why don't you kick us off with one of these questions?
All right. So we're going to break the ice with you.
All right.
Make you feel super comfortable. All right. What are you currently listening to right now?
Podcasts?
Podcasts, playlists, whatever.
To Joe Rogan podcast. I'm pretty frequent listener. Just started a book, The Way of the King, and I'm only like a chapter and a half in, but I think I'm hooked.
What's the genre of that?
It'd be like a theology book.
Theology book? Okay.
Kinda like rediscovering like man's lost soul. So really light reading, but really good. Those are my main two.
Awesome.
So if it's a Friday, Saturday night, pre-COVID, you're going out to dinner with your wife, and you get to choose what, your favorite food, where are you going?
Burgers
Burgers
or pizza, either one.
Yeah.
That's kind of a Friday thing. So for us, Fridays is normally like our like family date night, like the whole family would get pizza, watch a movie.
Nice.
But if we're going out, I mean, I'm pretty partial. I think Spokane's got an up and coming good food scene. So if it's burgers or pizza, I'm good to go.
Is there a particular burger somewhere that's like top notch?
That's a really good question.
You can say Zips.
It's not Zips. No disrespect to Zips. Man. I think Hogwash Whiskey Den is a contender for the best. Mm-hmm. Prohibition's really good. And Durkin's. Those are probably like top three.
I think two out of three I've had.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, last question. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Ooh. Yeah, and I'd say it's probably beer. I like beer, and a beer doesn't like me. So I haven't had very much since the new year, and it's shown. And my wife keeps telling me, she's like, just saying, you're like, you feel and look a lot better when you don't drink beer. So maybe you should not drink beer. I'm like, not willing to accept that reality yet, but
I think we're a lot the same. In that. Like it just like inflames me.
Totally.
But I love it.
Yep.
So it's tough.
I love it.
Yep.
Cool. Well, let's get into things.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Where'd you come from?
I'm Adam. Been in Spokane since 2011. Was in Seattle before that for college, and a few years after college. Grew up in the Midwest on a cattle ranch. Had a pretty unique childhood because of that. Always been an athlete, always been into sports. Decided I wanted to play soccer in college. Ended up going to the one school that wouldn't give me a scholarship because they were like nationally ranked at the time, which happened to be Seattle Pacific. Ended up playing rugby for them. I've been in the fitness world for most of my life, but as far as work goes, that's been my main job since I was 18. So did it during college, kind of to the table. I've always kind of worked for myself in the fitness world, but when we moved to Spokane in 2011, about a year after that, I opened Rewired, and that's my full-time gig now.
That's something I didn't know about you. What were you doing on the side when you're 18, 19, 20 in the fitness industry?
I was training a lot of like high school athletes. So I got involved with Young Life pretty early on and was a varsity basketball coach at a small college or a small high school in West Seattle. Trained all those kids before school, did well with it. They got good results. So I branched out to a few more schools and then started training their parents, and it never really stopped from there.
Yeah.
So you moved over here to Spokane, and what sparked the idea to start Rewired?
I knew I wanted to own my own gym. I was initially in kind of the Globo gym and like franchise gym world. Just that's where a lot of people get started. And when I moved over here in 2011, I helped launch the Mount Spokane Snap Fitness. So we started that together. I didn't have any money to put in at the time, so I basically earned it through sweat equity. And the night before I was supposed to sign to actually buy it, I've like couldn't sleep all night and felt like I don't think this is what I'm supposed to do. And it was profitable. I mean, it was like a good choice, but it just wasn't the right fit. And I went to that meeting just saying, hey, might shock you guys, but I'm not going to buy this. I'm going to go open my own thing. And 6 months later, Rewired open.
Wow. Yeah. Just knowing Rewired, because I work out there, and knowing the model of Snap and the global gyms. They're just polar opposites.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
we'll get into Rewired, but, one of the strengths of Rewired is just the community in it, which when you come and, slide your card at Snap and just work out whenever you want, you're putting your headphones in and you're just doing your own thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I saw an opportunity with the Snap model, especially in that location, because it was one of the only buildings in that whole complex at that point. I was going to expand it and kind of run both of the key card access, the 24/7 come when you want model, which I thought was attractive. But my goal was drop the franchise affiliation. I don't know if it needed it, and then open a group model and a personal training model in an extra space. And I realized, try not to be, I don't know. I think it would have been a failure in the fact of when you try and be too many things, you end up not doing anything well. So,
Yeah. Well, I've kind of had a burning question that I haven't got an answer in detail from you. I'm hoping you can explain it. But when you started Rewired, it was CrossFit, like Rewired CrossFit, or I don't know if that was the exact name.
Just flip those around.
Yeah,
CrossFit
Rewired.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yep.
And you had never coached CrossFit before that?
I had, but not in an actual CrossFit gym.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And so one question is, why CrossFit at that time? And then the second question is, I know you've kind of pivoted and you no longer have CrossFit attached to your name. You're just Rewired.
Yeah.
And can you explain kind of why you changed that?
Yeah, for sure. So we launched CrossFit Rewired 2013. As far as that scene goes, it was booming. Spokane might be a few years behind some of the larger cities in their boom, but it was in 2013. It was a good call. I had aligned with a lot of the areas of CrossFit. I also knew that just with kind of my wiring, and probably true for a lot of like young entrepreneurs at that stage, I wanted to go find some white space. I think like the big box Globo gym was probably always going to be around, but I saw some stuff that it wasn't doing well. And then you had a few like small personal training studios that were doing a few things well, but were missing some areas too. I'm like, man, there's this white space in the middle of, it's very different. It's not put your headphones in and sit on an elliptical for an hour and have a big 100,000 square foot spot. It's very different. It's against the grain. It's hard workouts. Things are for time. It's in warehouses and there's a dog running around. Like it was new and it was different and it was catching fire. And I had aligned with functional training since day one. I mean, I grew up on a cattle ranch and functional training to me just made sense. Like you should always have a reason to train, and it should mimic natural movements and make you better at life. So that wasn't an issue. But when CrossFit started to grow, we had some exposure to it in college, just playing rugby. We did like CrossFit football at the time, which was great. I'm sure our form was phenomenal, but we got in really good shape. So I had dabbled in it for a while. I was essentially doing that with one-on-one and small group training out of Snap. I just wasn't calling it that, obviously. And then when I opened, I was like, I think I like that CrossFit as far as the business model. A, it had a lot of fire behind it. B, it didn't feel like a franchise to me, which it's not. It's really just a licensing model. But it didn't tell me how to run my business, didn't tell me what to charge, didn't tell me where I could go and couldn't go. It kept it super open and competitive, and I liked that. So that, I think, I don't regret starting it as an affiliate model whatsoever. I think it was the absolute right decision. It's a big part of our story, but we moved away from that officially in 2017, but we were making some moves probably before that, and I think we just got to the ball early. A lot of gyms have de-affiliated or lost their affiliation the last few years for other reasons, but for us it was CrossFit grew so fast as a global brand, which is, should be commended. No one has disrupted the fitness space more than CrossFit HQ in our lifetime, like period. It's not all with good things. There's probably some bad that comes with that, but for us, I started noticing that we weren't really aligning with the direction that CrossFit HQ was going as a big company. And the big kicker was the public, and in my words, like the prospects image of CrossFit wasn't aligning with really who I think we are and what we're doing. I saw big gaps there of people's image of, well, if you do that, you're going to get hurt. I don't really think that aligns with us. You have to be in shape to do this. It's only for the elite. It's just a bunch of jack dudes with their shirt offs and chalk and a dog everywhere. I'm like, that's it's not really who we are. And that was part of it that pushed me away. The other part was probably just a big part of my wiring and DNA of very independent. I want to make it my own thing.
Yeah.
I want complete control of our success and failure as a brand without anyone else pushing on that. So I like the fact that we own who we are, and it's part of our story, and you can probably tell it's part of our roots. Like there's definitely some roots of CrossFit, but I'm really happy that we're our own thing, and I think we just got there a little ahead of where some other gyms decided to disaffiliate.
Yeah.
I think that the stigma, good or bad, of CrossFit is real. I mean, I'm an athlete. I was an athlete growing up, played college sports and all that, but I'd watch the games or whatever on TV, and I'm like, okay, I could do those lifts, Olympic lifts, things like that. But I looked at the gymnastics stuff, like people walking on their hands and doing certain things. I'm like, this isn't for me. Like, I can't do this.
Right.
Nor do I want to take the time to learn it, really. And it took seeing some friends I had going to Rewired. And I'm like, well, if Isaiah Payne can do CrossFit, maybe I can.
Yeah.
And so it just took me coming to check it out and realizing, it is a tremendous workout. And what I need in a workout is for people to push me. Yeah. Like, there's no way I could do what we do in the morning on my own. There's a very few in this world that can do that to themselves. And they're the elite ones that are winning the games probably. I need people pushing me, and I'm naturally competitive. So at 41, I'm in there trying to beat the 20-some-year-olds for some reason, but it's in me to try. And in the end, I'm dripping sweat and feel amazing at the end versus going and pumping some iron at a gym. Yeah. So I think what you did with sort of changing the brand and just how things look, even your social media portrays it, like this is for anybody. Yeah. I see all sorts of demographics at Rewired, and I think that's amazing. I mean, if you were just focused on elite athletes, you'd have like 30 people at your gym,
right?
Right,
yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I think for us, we recognize that our niche is people that want to evolve their fitness. We're not a starter gym. We're not where people go from like the couch to their first gym experience. That's not us, and we're not going to try and be that. Yeah. There's really good opportunities for people out there that are in that boat. But for us, it's I tried this and I got bored, or I used to be an athlete and I want to get back to feeling like that again, or like something where they already know that training is important. They're already sold on working out is beneficial. They're already high achievers. But they want to find something where it's like, all right, if I'm going to spend like 4 or 5 hours a week here, I want to like the people. I want to like the vibe. I want to enjoy the workouts. I don't really care if my scores are amazing, even though I might be slightly competitive, but like I want to actually enjoy that. I feel like I'm getting fitter and can use this stuff outside the gym. Yeah. I think that's where we just relentlessly try and own that niche.
For sure. Yeah. And I think a big part of Rewired is your desire to create a community, which like Aaron said, you go to other gyms, you don't feel that. You're in and out, you're a number. And at your gym, like, why is that important to you to create that community?
It's been a big one for us from the beginning of making sure that didn't just happen by accident, but being really intentional with that. And a big one for me was making sure that we create a third place for people. Of like, you're going to have work, you're going to have home, but even in 2013, I was like, man, there's not a lot of places where people genuinely participate in community. And the gym is such an awesome opportunity for that. Like maybe some people can have, friends from church or social clubs or whatever. But the advantage we have is we're going to have them for like 4, 5, 6 hours a week. Yeah. They're probably going to be with the same people because they're probably on a consistent schedule. Like this is where you start to make relationships and connections, and it's not just a social club. Like it's not just hanging out on the golf course. We're actually like getting really fit at the same time, which is a huge benefit. But it's with people that are probably in similar stages of life, that probably have similar interests, that are seeing the value in, man, like hanging out with these people is actually a lot more beneficial because I feel known. I feel like the coach cares about me. I feel like everybody here is like genuinely respectful of one another. And even though there's some really elite athletes or some people that are kind of just getting started, like no one really judges you as long as you're trying. Yeah. And I think that to me is even more so now as we're in like 2021. I'm like, that's so unbelievably important. even before COVID hit, but even more so, it's been accelerated in the last year. There's not a lot of places where people genuinely sit down and like talk face to face and actually hang out with people and feel connected and feel known and respected and rub shoulders. And I don't ever want that to go away. So I think it's important.
I agree. And I think that starts with you as the owner and the coach. And, you know, you're clearly passionate about it. And if you weren't, that would come through. Mm-hmm. So every morning you're happy to be there. We can see that. You know, you're saying hi to everyone, greeting everyone. You're encouraging everyone through the workout. People crave that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you say that during the COVID thing, when people couldn't come to the gym for a period, they weren't getting community at the gym and they weren't getting fitness in the gym? Did you see some repercussions? Did you get feedback from people that were like hurting because of that in a way?
I think that was one of the biggest pressures that I felt. That was probably one of the things that made it hardest on me during that season, was like knowing that people are struggling because they're like, dude, that's like the one place in the week where people actually know that I'm alive, or someone actually says like, good job, or, you know, they're like, I bust my butt at work, or my home life is stressful, or this year is stressful, but at least I've got this outlet to go to that's like, it's good for me. I look forward to it. I get positive re-encouragement from it. I got a coach that actually like thinks that, you know, I'm doing something with my life, or that praise or recognition. Like when those pieces start falling away, I think that was the part that seemed most noticeable. Like when I, you know, call members, or our staff would get together and call members, that was kind of the common feedback that we would talk about as a coaching staff, is like, I know there's a lot of people financially hurting from this season, or they're stressed, or they're scared, but like one of the biggest pressures that we felt, and that was probably most heartbreaking for us, was that like emotional part of that was gone for people. Yep. You know, some people they're so scheduled and so regimented. They're like, my 5 a.m. is gone, and that's really messing with my life right now. And for others, it was more of like, well, no, like I don't have anyone like actually giving me any positive reinforcement. And if the gym is closed, I need it back open.
Yeah. I think I speak for myself here. I'm somebody who would claim not to need much verbal affirmation, like pretty confident. But I'm always shocked when like I do a good rep or whatever, and you just come by and say something positive. We all like that.
Yeah.
Everybody likes that.
So you're being you're noticed.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
Were you encouraged by the people at Rewired, how they sort of rallied in a way to, support you when you had to close? I mean, your rent was still coming in.
You were closed for how long? Like, off and on.
Half the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's one of the things I'm most thankful for, most proud of in my journey with Rewired. It's probably towards the top, if not at the top, of people's response of, I think, the recognition that, like, call it like brand buy-in or whatever you want to call it, but like that's there, of like, people are like, nah, dude, this is like, these are my people. Some people might call it, well, this is my church, or this is like whatever language they want to use around it. I get what they're trying to say, is that like, no, like I need you guys to stay open. So the amount of people that continued to financially support, even though we were doing virtual, it's not the same, and the dollar amount is not worth the same, but the amount of people that still were able to financially support that when we did get to reopen, or even feedback on like, I think people and specifically members' feedback on how positive it was throughout the year for them, how they felt like we led well, that we made good decisions on behalf of the members, that we treated them fairly, that we hustled, that we were doing what we could do despite the circumstances. To me, it was like, we've survived some really tough stuff as a business. That was, that's probably towards the top. And we did it well. I'm not going to say it was easy. It was definitely a tough year, but I think we did it in a way that I'm super proud of. And it goes to show, we're pretty tough to kill, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. COVID had a lot of negative aspects to it, and I think we all get sick and tired of talking about it at some level, but I wanted to bring it up because it exposed so many cool things really about your gym and the people that are there.
Yep.
Yeah, Adam, so going forward, 1 to 5 years from now, what's your vision for Rewired? Where do you see it going?
It's a great question. I really think we are a single location. I'm going to own that and just build around that decision of, I want to have one premier Northside location that people continue to love. I love what I do. It's my main occupation, owning Rewired. I have no intentions of slowing down, but some moves for us would be, I want to fully own the building that we get to operate out of. I'd like to continue to build and craft like full-on careers for our staff and let them run more of the show. And we're slowly getting there, which is exciting. And I think just more of our community connections, some things we've been able to start even in a year like COVID, of just being able to get connected with some local schools and local communities and local things like that, where we can help really own our presence on the north side and just love on it the best we can.
That's awesome. Do you see yourself wanting to grow the membership?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think the reality is in our model, there is a ceiling. Right before the first COVID shutdown, we were very, very close to it. We're about halfway back from the lowest we got during last year to getting there. So that's exciting. But knowing that my goal is not 10 locations and endless members, my goal's optimal for us is right around 250 to 275 brick and mortar members. That's something I think we'll get back to in about a year. The cool part that we've started in the last year has been our individual design and remote client base really doesn't have a cap on it. And it's something I really enjoy and a skill set that I've got. So that's been a fun one. Having members that don't live in Spokane, that live across the state or out of state, or we've even got one in Mexico, which is super cool. So technically we are now an international brand. But seeing that grow, that'll be a big one for us.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, I'll have to get out there and be an evangelist for you. I guarantee I can get a few more members.
I like it.
So as we start wrapping this up, there's one last question I like to ask everybody. What would you consider, and this can be a word or just a short phrase, like what is your superpower? Meaning, like, what do you think your greatest strength is?
Connected, I think, would be the word I would choose. My wiring tests are going to say that I'm a connector, but I have a big passion for that. I want to get people connected. I think that's why Rewired's modeled the way that it is. It's why the hobbies I have are the hobbies that I have. I like seeing people connected. I like being able to get people more connected to themselves, more connected to others, help in kind of that process and that journey of allowing them to get one thing that needs to partner with another thing and watching it happen. Yeah, cool.
And where can our audience find you? Social media, websites?
Social media, Rewired Fitness Co. You can also listen to our podcast, The Rewired Life.
Yeah. Say that again. Say it again.
The Rewired Life. It's on all major podcast platforms.
Very cool.
Awesome. So is there anything, leaving our audience here that they can best support you? Is there anything they can do to support you?
Yeah, man, keep your gym memberships local. That's all that I'll ask, whether it's us or anybody else. There's something valuable in having that local gym. So love that Spokane is a giant small town. I think it's one thing that makes us super cool. Keep supporting local, and that includes your gym.
Cool.
Well, we loved having you today, Adam. Love your passion. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.